Wednesday, June the 9th. Lake levels almost right at 923, so it was like 922.9. Still coming up every day. I know a lot of people thinking we haven't had any rain. Why is the lake coming up? Well, a lot of times our lake level is controlled by whatever's happening in a lot of other different states. Bull Shoals is like 27 feet high, and the reason it's backed up so much, I believe, apparently they're having trouble in the Mississippi and in the Missouri River, is why they can't let the water out of Bull Shoals. So it's just kind of backing everything up. But compared to some of the other lakes, we're not too awful bad. But there is, quite a little bit of debris, especially in the river arms, floating around. So you got to be careful running. But where they've been moving so much water through the lake, I was down at the dam Monday and Tuesday and today down by Kimberling City. And, there's really good staining down at the dam, Kimberling City. The watercolor is real good. Actually, some of that mid-lake area has got better color than the upper river arms do. But, summertime finally got here. The water temperature, it's in the 70s, low to mid-70s, and probably the next day or two it's going to get way up into the 70s. But summer seems like it finally got here. It was hot today, and it's going to be hot and sticky, I believe, for a few days. But with the water temperature and, the water flow that's going through the lake, the fish really haven't started to set up, I don't think, in what we would call a summertime pattern. There's so much water up in the bushes, there's, so many fish scattered out throughout the lake that they're not out there deeper or not grouped up where they normally start getting this time of year. But I've been catching fish. We've really been having to, mix it up, catch them a lot of different ways. Catching a lot of fish out in front of the bushes, some in the bushes, and some behind. But, a good way to fish out in front of the bushes, you can fish like a shaky head. I've been throwing a 1/8 ounce and 3/16. It's a Crocker Gator head with like a Zoom trick worm, or this particular one is a Strike King little trick worm. Watermelon red seems to be working good, but just about any type of weedless bait will work. Tube baits and stuff will work if you got them Texas rigged, or if you got them open hooked, you want to fish them out there a little deeper out in front of the bushes. But a lot of crankbaits will work. A lot of them bushes, you can take like a crankbait that dives down 8 to 10 feet, like a Strike King Series 5, run it along the edge in the front of the bushes. You can take little square bills, like a 2-point, this is a Spro. Lucky Craft, and here's another Lucky Craft, a 2.5. But you can take these and run them, over the bushes, through them and around them. You seem like you got to cover a lot of water, but the good thing is when you do get a bite, you get a couple in the same area. Now, when I've been getting into bushes, in the thickest part of the bushes, I like to flip a jig or a Texas rig creature bait. And normally how I rig the creature bait, like a beaver, is I use a little bobber stopper right above the weight, or you can peg the weight. And depends, I'll run anywhere from a 1/4 ounce to a 1/2 ounce as far as on my tungsten weight, 4/0 Gamakatsu heavy flipping hook. And I think the Texas rig comes through the brush and the bushes as good as anything, as long as you keep your hook point, buried in the plastic. If you've got that hook point sticking out, you're going to find that it gets hung up a lot. But, a lot of times from cast to cast, you got to check that hook point, make sure it's not sticking out. Another bait we'll throw when there's a 5 Fish Lures Ultimate Cover Jig. And I'll throw either a 1/2 ounce or a 3/4. The design of the head is kind of like a swim jig. It's a pyramid style. It really comes through the brush and the cover really well. Like I say, I think Texas rig comes through best. And second is this cover jig comes through real well. And Okeechobee craw, this color that I've got on the beaver here is a California 420. And not all the fish are in the bushes. Some of them are behind. Some of them are on the isolated trees. And there's some up there on the shoreline grass. seems like you just got to cover a lot of water, but when you do get a bite, and most of them are quality fish. You know, we caught largemouth, smallmouth, both out of the bushes today in the Kimberling City area. But we really struggled there. You know, we tried to get a swim bait bite, couldn't get much of that going, like a little 2.8 and a 3.2. And we threw topwater quite a little bit. There was a lot of fish chasing throughout the day, but it seems like they've got to be within casting range when they come up. I haven't found any big groups or big schools. And I've been using a surge shad or like a walking type bait on those fish there. Now on the beaver colors, you know, it depends. Okeechobee Craw's a real good color. The California 420, like I've got on that one right there, it's kind of like a watermelon and a watermelon black. It's a watermelon on one side, watermelon black with a little red flake on the other. But, you know, the water's not that dirty where you got to go with black and blue. But I do like a little blue. It gives off a lot of flash, especially with, there's a lot of bait fish up in the bushes. And it seems like if you can find the bushes that got the bait fish, there's a little bit of surface activity. That's also, you know, where the flipping bite is. Now, I had a pretty good crankbait bite going, a deep crankbait bite going about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. But I've struggled with that since the water's come up. I think some of the areas that I was fishing was a little too deep. It seems like I'm doing better on the crankbaits out in front of the bushes. And another thing I'm throwing out in front of the bushes, and this will come through the bushes fairly good if they're not too thick. This is like a hard head. This one, particular one here, is called a pig sticker. It's a pig rig, but it's basically just a football head. We call them swing heads. And I'm using a lot of Magnum Zoom finesse worms on it. This was a watermelon candy. Red bug will work good too. Watermelon red, green pumpkin, maybe a little chartreuse on the tail. And I'm fishing this around the bushes out to about 10 to 15 foot. Most of my bites, even the flipping bites, it seems like if I'm closer to the main lake or, you know, close where there's current, I can't really feel the current, but I feel like the current is helping position some of the fish. Seems like I go further back in the creeks, I don't do as well. Some of the secondary points in the creeks are working, but it's like halfway back. The main lake seems to be as good as anything. And I've kind of been mixing up, you know, it's kind of hard a lot of times to pinpoint whether they're on the hard trees, the sycamores or the willows or the green bushes. I'm really not getting enough bites, but the only thing that we are getting when we get a bite or two, we're getting several in the same little area. But then I'll go around and look for different areas that lay just like that. But, you know, I don't know what the lake level is going to do. It should start to come down because we haven't had any recent rains, but Beaver Lake is real high, so they're going to probably try to pull it down. Bull shoals can't really hold a whole lot more, so I don't see this one dropping fast. So it's probably still going to be quite a little bit of debris out there floating around. The river arms seem to be worse, but there is trash out in the main lake down by the dam in the mid-lake area, Campbell Point and Baxter. And as far as the fishing, I've been up the Eagle Rock by the dam, up in the James River. I really haven't found one place that's better than the other. We caught fish flipping up in the dam area, and I think a lot of the reason there is because that water's got a little bit of stain to it. But I think there's more numbers of fish up in the White River and in the James River. On a lot of these, you know, the flat gravel points with like the wobblehead, a tube, and some days even a swim bait. So until next week, good luck, good fishing.